Many of us have experienced complete dumpster fire situations with our favorite teams. Whether they are entering a rebuild phase or they've been stuck trying to get over that playoff hump for years, we've seen a lot of GMs who've made some moves that not only didn't work out, but completely put their franchise in terrible situations. Keeping that in mind, here are the top 5 worst GMs in NHL history. John Ferguson Jr., the Toronto Maple Leafs. Although John Ferguson Jr. oversaw a playoff season with the Toronto Maple Leafs, it was primarily due to the team being well established when he took over the reins in the 2003-2004 season. However, in his second year of the job, just before the 2005-2006 season, Ferguson took a risk by signing declining and injury-prone veterans Jason Allison and Eric Lindros. Following the Leafs' failure to make the playoffs in 2006, Ferguson made a trade with Boston, sending promising goaltending prospect Tuukka Rask in exchange for Andrew Raycroft. It is now evident that this trade was even more one-sided against the Leafs than the Phil Kessel deal orchestrated by Brian Burke with the Bruins. In May of 2007, after 2 consecutive seasons without a playoff appearance, the higher-ups in Toronto considered bringing in a mentor to assist Ferguson. Just 6 months later and 2 months prior to his eventual dismissal, club president Richard Petty openly admitted to the media that hiring Ferguson was a mistake on his part. By January of 2008, when the Leafs were heading towards another early spring cleaning, Ferguson's time with the team had come to an end. Mike Milbury, the New York Islanders. While serving as the Islanders' head coach during his first full season, Milbury took on the additional responsibility of being the GM in December of 1995. However, just over 10 years later, he left that position mid-season in the 2005-2006 season. Throughout that 10-year period, the Islanders went through 5 different head coaches, excluding Milbury himself. Rick Bowness, Bill Stewart, and Steve Sterling did not complete 2 full seasons, while Butch Goring and Peter Laviolette did not return for a 3rd season. Laviolette departed from the organization after the 2002-2003 season, during which the team earned 12 fewer regular season points compared to the previous year and made no progress in the playoffs. However, in the 2001-2002 season, Laviolette orchestrated an impressive 44-point improvement from the previous season and guided the Islanders to their first playoff appearance since 1994. Ironically, Milbury's impatience with Laviolette, the best coach he had hired, contrasted with his willingness to sign Alexei Yashin to an overpaid long-term deal. Additionally, the fact that Yashin was acquired in exchange for Zdeno Chara and Jason Spezza places this trade among the many unforgivable moves by Mike Milbury during his tenure. Peter Chiarelli, the Edmonton Oilers. Peter Chiarelli's tenure with the Edmonton Oilers was marked by turmoil and will be remembered by fans for years to come. During his nearly 4-year stint, he made numerous questionable decisions, such as overpaying for contracts, struggling to find skilled wingers and goaltenders, and seemingly trading valuable assets for insignificant returns. While his claim to fame as Oilers general manager was signing Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl to long-term deals, it should be noted that Draisaitl was already part of the organization when Chiarelli arrived, and McDavid fell into his lap as the first overall pick. When Chiarelli arrived in Edmonton in 2015, it was evident that the Oilers needed a top-tier defenseman, so he brought in Andrej Sekera on a 6-year, $5.5 million per season contract. Unfortunately, Sekera didn't live up to the long-term expectations, as he failed to deliver the elite defensive performance anticipated from him after signing a $33 million contract. Many believed Sekera would be the savior of the Oilers' defensive core, but his performance fell short. Prior to joining the Oilers, Sekera had only been one of the top 2 defensemen in ice time for his team once during the 2013-2014 season with the Carolina Hurricanes. Sekera struggled in his first season with the Oilers in the 2015-2016 season, partly due to the team's overall struggles, and continued to face injuries the following seasons until he eventually was bought out in 2019. After the 2016-2017 season, the Oilers had 2 wingers, Jordan Eberle and Milan Lucic, who scored over 50 points in the regular season. However, Chiarelli traded Eberle, and it became clear that Lucic's production was not sustainable. In the 2017 offseason, Chiarelli's solution was to sign Jussi Jokinen to a 1-year, $1.1 million contract. Jokinen only managed to score 1 point in 14 games before being traded for another aging winger, Mike Camilleri. Now, Camilleri performed slightly better with 22 points in 51 games, marking his final NHL season. He ended up being the third highest scoring winger, trailing Lucic and Patrick Maroon, who had 34 and 30 points respectively. In the following season, Chiarelli signed Tobias Rieder to a $2 million contract, but Rieder failed to score a single goal in the 2018-2019 season. The lack of depth on the wings was evident, with the highest scoring winger outside of Nugent Hopkins being the surprising Alex Chiasson, who scored 38 points. Chiarelli's consistent failure to acquire capable wingers for his talented centers, among other issues, was a major criticism throughout his time in Edmonton. Mike Gillis, the Vancouver Canucks. From 2008 to 2014, Mike Gillis served as the GM of the Vancouver Canucks. However, between 2011 and 2012, it appeared that he lost his sense of direction. Despite being named GM of the Year in 2010-2011, Gillis's performance declined drastically afterwards. Initially, it seemed that the Canucks had a solid goaltending duo for the foreseeable future with Roberto Luongo and Corey Schneider. However, due to Gillis's mismanagement, he ended up losing both of them. He also traded Mike Brown for Nathan McKeever, Shane O'Brien for Ryan Parent, Mikael Grabner, a first-round pick, and Steve Bernier for Victor Oriskovich, and Keith Ballard and Cody Hodgson for Zach Kassian. Additionally, Gillis made a costly mistake by offering an aging Matt Sundin a $20 million contract over 2 years. He also allowed key defenseman Willie Mitchell to join the LA Kings as a free agent. Gillis also overpaid for free agents Manny Malhotra and Marco Strum and made the decision to fire head coach Alain Vigneault in May 2013. His replacement, John Tortorella, was an ill-suited fit for the Canucks, and he was fired after just 1 season when the team failed to make the playoffs. Mike Gillis was dismissed about 3 weeks earlier in April of 2014. Réjean Houle, the Montreal Canadiens. Réjean Houle was in charge of the Canadiens between the 1995 and 2000 seasons, and a lot of Habs fans believe that he was nothing short of a disaster. He was involved in a series of ill-advised trades, with the most notorious being the deal that sent Patrick Waugh and team captain Mike Keane to the Colorado Avalanche in exchange for Jocelyn Thibault, Martin Ruchinski, and Andrei Kovalenko. Additionally, he traded the power forward Mark Recchi to the Philadelphia Flyers for Danius Zubaris, and Pierre Turgeon and Craig Conroy were sent to the St. Louis Blues in exchange for Shane Corson and Murray Barron. Réjean Houle's performance on draft day was also abysmal, as he used first-round picks on players such as Ron Hainsey, Jason Ward, Matt Higgins, and Marcel Hossa, which none of them lived up to expectations. Furthermore, he traded a top 10 pick to the New York Islanders for an aging Trevor Linden, which obviously turned out to be a poor decision. Another major criticism was his tendency to trade away struggling veterans like Vincent Damphousse and Mark Recchi instead of allowing them to work through their slumps. As a result, the Philadelphia Flyers essentially acquired Recchi, John Leclerc, and Eric Desjardins in exchange for Zubaris, along with a couple of draft picks. By the year 2000, the Canadiens had become a mere shadow of their former selves when Réjean Houle took over from Serge Savard in 1995. This decline was primarily attributed to Houle's misguided trades, poor draft choices, and lack of successful free agent signings. Thanks for watching our videos. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.